Hey guys, and welcome to another episode of Hobby Sauce. I have Jose with me today, and we are going to go over Cock 19. Let's get saucy.
Hobby Sauce.
Thanks for coming back, guys. Clash of Kings 19's out.
Yeah.
Came out yesterday. I'm pretty excited. I don't know about you.
Yeah, I'm somewhat excited, somewhat salty.
So,
yeah, well.
Disclaimer, we're going to be a little bit of a sweet and sour here. I'm excited. Jose is not, so I'm going to be peppy, and Jose is going to be droopy. But, you know, it's the normal rules change. Something changes every year. Every army got something. I think they did a better job of making everybody get at least something this year, because a lot like Ratkin and a few other people kind of just got left out of the loop last year, I thought.
Yeah, I think that the RC does a good job at listening to the community. I think that's very valuable. Keeps the game fresh.
Yeah.
So yeah, no, it is a good thing.
Some cool things that we got that aren't the rules developments, but we will get to them, are going to be siege rules that we put down. And we're also going to go over some of the major changes. I'm going to put a lot of links in the description below. If you want to just skip to the part that you're interested about, just go down there. But if you want to watch the whole video, we're going to get started first on siege rules.
Yeah.
So siege is kind of a new thing that they've added. It used to be in 1st edition, but now it's in 2nd edition too. And it allows you to attack a castle or something like that, which, yeah. I mean, I think everybody kind of wants to do, so.
Yeah, no, it sounds like an awesome way to spend your afternoons, like destroying castles.
It's definitely a beer and pretzels kind of game. It's not a competitive style game.
Yeah, exactly. I don't think it's going to see competitive play, but it's a lot of fun.
Oh, yeah.
I can't wait to try that.
I want to build some battlements and see what we can do, but essentially what ends up happening is the attacker and defender both get extra points to spend on either defenses on the wall or war machines or whatnot that they can use to take through. So some of the things that, and I'll just be looking at this to look at my notes occasionally, some of the things that the attackers can take are siege towers to get across the walls, battering rams to you know, knock down the gates, and what's that? Catapults. Catapults are pretty cool. So you're just getting extra points for that stuff, not part of your army list. And defending players get things like gate traps, buttresses, and they even have secret entrances that can come in through, which is pretty cool. Yeah. And what ends up happening is you come and attack this. There's some specific deployment rules where the attacker gets more room. The defender kind of has a limited deployment area. And then you just go at it. Everyone has 3 objectives, attackers and defenders. Both of you know which rules are which, but you actually pick them in secret.
Right.
So you don't know what your opponent's trying to do. Are they trying to kill you? Are they trying to take the fort? Who knows? So it'll add some pretty cool dynamic things to it. Looking forward to that. We'll see if we can build some of those and maybe get a game in filmed.
Yeah.
Let's get to special rule changes real quick. So special rules, we're talking about things like fly, nimble. Some changes that happened in Cock 18 that are still going to be in Cock 19 are changes to fly, headstrong, war machine individuals, dread, and thunderous charge. So everything that you knew about that last year, still the same. But nimble changed. Now, if an ensnare unit or a phalanx unit hits nimble, I can see Jose smiling about this one, hits a nimble unit, boom, disordered, they have lost nimble just like you would lose fly.
I think it makes sense to push the phalanx mechanic a little bit up because it's not used too much. No,
a phalanx is, I think, terrible, really, in general, and they point it, cost it so high, and
it's not worth it. But really maybe it gets a boost with this.
Yeah, I think it'll be good.
And then people don't like corkscrew charges.
Don't like what charges?
Corkscrew
charges. Yeah. So I had to get through the Peruvian accent there.
So I don't know. I think it's a good addition.
It makes sense flavorfully.
It makes sense. You know, there's your snare. You cannot really maneuver around big formations of infantry or whatever, so yeah, it makes sense.
I like it. And we also got a mechanic called steady aim, and steady aim allows a unit to move and shoot without penalty. So kind of similar to a breath weapon, but breath weapons hit on 4. You're going to be hitting on your normal ranged mechanic, and you can still be affected by cover, stealthy, things like that. But a lot of cool things got move and shoot, steady aim, excuse me, so it's pretty good. Magic items. We didn't have many removals. We lost the Black Iron Crown.
Yeah.
I didn't really care about that one way or another, but elves aren't a big thing around here. So I didn't see the Bane Chant through.
I wasn't on the receiving end of that.
Yeah.
I mean, I think it's important in some areas where elves are like dominant.
Yeah.
So
elves are really dominant in the central United States, from what I understand.
Yeah.
I don't think elves need a buff, that's for sure. I've seen their list. They're in great shape.
Agreed.
New items, though. We have a 5-point item that I think is going to make a lot of lists. It's called the Orcish Skull Pole.
Yeah.
It gives you Brutal. And of course, the Pipes of Terror, a 15-point item. The only difference here is if you deal melee damage with this, you roll a die, and on a 4-up, you keep it, and on a 3-down, you lose it. So it's coin flip whether you keep it after the first attack. But for 5 points, 1 extra guaranteed wound in combat, pretty good.
No, it's amazing. It's
Yeah.
cheap. Brutal is amazing. I mean, if you play against ogres, you know, it's painful. Yeah. And you know, in practice, most units only get to charge 1. So even if you lose the item, I mean, who cares? It already did, you know, what it's supposed to do.
It's also a 5-point item.
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
If you forget to use Healing Brew, oh well. I mean, you know, it's 5 points. It doesn't matter. But as far as 5-point items go, I really like that one.
Yeah, me too.
We also got the Whip of Celerity. It gives you a 1 extra inch in your charge. So let's say you have a normal horse unit, 8 speed. You would get a 16-inch charge. This one makes it a 17-inch charge. Doesn't increase your speed, just increases your charge range. I think that's pretty cool too. Can really go well with Brew of Haste, I think, if you have like 2 units moving up with it.
No, I mean, you bring up a good point. I was thinking about giving that to, like, say, Dwarves, because they're so slow.
Yeah.
But I think the real benefit is in already fast units, because you can break the stalemate against,
for sure.
You know, some cavalry or something. I mean, that extra inch can be big.
And it's only 10 points, so less than Brew. You could get 2 units with faster speed for 25 points. It's pretty good.
Yeah, it is good.
Han's Sanguinary Scripture gives Life Leech 1, can give you a Life Leech 2 if you already have Life Leech 1, will not go above 2. We have the Mournful Blade, which doubles your attacks against individuals, and a hero has to take it. Not sure if I like that one, but if you're specifically taking something just to go harass heroes, I think it's...
Yeah, I think there are some heroes that are pretty annoying in the game. Like, Pazuzu?
Well, Pazuzu's elite, but if you have something like the Abyssal Champion on wings or something like that, you could get some pretty... I mean, 10 attacks on a... That could kill you. I mean, for sure.
No, I'm thinking.
Oh, on
kill
on him. I got you.
Yeah. So if you want to go hero hunting, which a lot of people don't go that route, but this item will help a lot in that regard.
I like taking the hero like your Dwarven King or the Abyssal Champion, but you don't always use them to hunt heroes. Sometimes you use them to hunt war machines. Yeah. Sometimes you use them to augment an attack. So it's only good against heroes, but it would double your attacks against heroes, which would be really good.
I think it's very situational, but if you really hate your opponent's heroes, that's the way to go.
Zephyr Crown is back. It doesn't give you Wind Blast anymore, but if you have Wind Blast, it lets you deal damage with every successful hit. So you roll Wind Blast, let's say you get 5 hits, you move them back 5 inches, but then you roll for damage too. So pretty cool.
That is cool.
I think Wind Blast is already kind of annoying, but a lot of people don't take it because they don't know how to make it work. They haven't.
Exactly.
Once you have it used against you, you know how to make it work. It's annoying.
No, it's great. It can get you out of scoring position.
Yep, that's the worst one. That's the worst way.
It is a very tactical spell. I haven't seen it used much, like you said, but it is good.
I think it's powerful with Undead because you can push flanks really easily. Between Wind Blast and Surge, you can get some really silly stuff happening.
True.
We have a lot of changes to spells. Spells is major change. So we probably gained 6, 7, 8 spells, and then we also have major changes with legendary spells. So legendary spells are spells that can only be taken once per army and can only be used once per caster.
Right.
Well, some of them can only be used once per caster. Some of them are used normally. We'll break it all down. And then we also have common pool spells, which are spells you can take as many as you want to. So these are all spells that any caster can take, any hero can take. what legendaries, only heroes can take them, but the common pool spells, anything that can take a spell can take it. So common pool spells are Mind Fog, which is the same as before. Weakness got a range buff, now it's 24 inches. I've always really wanted weakness to work, and I think the 24-inch range really can make it. It can shoot into melee now, it's 24-inch range, and it's negative crushing strength. I think that can be pretty good, especially if you can get it across the army.
That is useful, yeah. It's good.
And then Drain Life. Drain Life is unchanged. And then we got Hex. Hex is a 10-point spell, 30-point range. You cast it on an enemy caster, and for that, if it's successful, that hero no longer has... Well, excuse me, that hero can't...
They will take a point of damage for each cast.
That's it. That's what I'm trying to say right now. So if you cast Martyr's Prayer on yourself... you're taking damage every time you heal, and the damage is coming on you too, so you could be in a bad spot. You cast Fireball, you deal damage, you're taking that damage too. Now you don't take a nerve check from Hex, you're just going to make yourself easier to kill later.
Right.
Legendary spells are broken into 3 separate categories. One of them are spells that can always be used, so they're just normal spells other than the fact that only heroes can take them and you can only take one. Then there are also legendary spells that you can only cast once. And then there are alignment-specific spells, which haven't changed a whole lot. But all the alignment-specific spells from 18 are now legendary spells. So as far as spells that you can cast all the time, Bark Skin is a legendary spell that increases the defense of a unit.
Up to 5.
Up to 5, right. You can't get yourself to 6 with this.
It's okay. There's a lot of crushing strength and thunder church in the game, so I think it's okay.
I think Barkskin paired with weakness could be kind of interesting.
Yeah, or maybe on unit with snare.
Yep,
that can be something
for sure. Because ensnare always suffers from the fact that their defense is low.
Right.
Now they could have ensnare with a defense 4 or defense 5. That could be decent.
Right.
You also have Alchemist Curse. Alchemist Curse is mostly the same. It's a legendary spell now, but it got buffed, actually. It costs 30 to take, but you get 10 shots instead of 6. So it's better than it was, but you can only take it once. I think that's a pretty good balance. Yeah, I think so.
It looked like some dwarf ladies were abusing...
It was the Goblin. Goblin and Rhordia.
Goblins.
The cheat casters.
They're trying to keep the goblins, from misbehaving in this edition. So.
Goblins have to misbehave. That's all they can do.
Well, now they're trying to get them, make them good. I don't know, man.
All right, Spell Siphon. This is a spell that a lot of people have a lot of questions about. I'm going to read the whole thing here. Spell Siphon is an 18-inch range. Enemy units that have the ability to cast a spell, including those who can cast due to a magical artifact, are going to be targets. Hits do not cause damage. Instead, if one or more hits is scored, the unit which casts this spell may immediately cast one of the target's spells, with the exception of Surge. Casting the opponent's spell uses the same number of dice available to the enemy unit. However, the enemy unit's special rules will not be used. Additionally, in the next turn, the enemy player can't cast the stolen spell. So the special rules it's talking about are like Elite, or the Warlock's ability to benefit from Ogre Hordes, but you do still get to cast the same number of dice. If you took Alchemist Curse from someone, you're going to be casting 10 dice at whatever you want to shoot at.
Right.
The spell's interesting. I'm not really a huge fan of this. It seems pretty situational to me, but it definitely has some weird mechanics. You could stop someone from casting a spell you don't want to be cast. You could steal legendary spells. And what's interesting about that is that legendary spells specifically state you can only take one and can only be cast once per caster. That means that if something happens and you happen to take the same legendary spell that they took, you cast it on caster 1, but caster 2 spell siphons, you could get 2 castings of that spell.
Oh.
Because it's per caster.
Right. Yeah, no, it can be... if you do it with the right timing, I mean, you still like a hero's heal spell, at the right time.
That could be good.
That can be that's a big swing.
I think it can also kind of it's almost like a buffer for this is almost like a buffer for new meta changes that we haven't even foreseen yet. Like if one spell gets particularly abusive and we don't even know what that is yet, there's always Spell Siphon.
Yeah, no, I think this legendary spell system is a good thing.
I think it's great
to prevent abuse. You know, like you mentioned, the Goblin list that they can spam with cheap casters.
Right.
Another list as well. I mean, they this is a good way to kind of prevent abuse. So that's. I mean, I think it's good.
I think so too, and I didn't like the previous edition's thing to make the magic items. I had a Varangur list that kind of focused around one Magus with Blood Boil, and then Devourers and things shooting at you. I didn't think it was abusive, but it was good. It doesn't mean it was abusive.
That's good. That's good.
But the fact that Blood Boil became a magic item just ruined that list because I needed to take another non-abusive item, the Inspiring Talisman on the Magus guy, and I couldn't do it, so I didn't have any inspiring sources, and I couldn't afford a Scald in the list, so I was kind of frustrated with that. This fixes that. That list is back. I could run it again. So I'm pretty excited about that. It's not fallen spam. It's not fallen spam, so it's fine. We also have Blizzard. It's a 36-inch range, and it blasts. It's a blast D3 spell. Pretty cool.
Yeah.
Blood Boil is exactly the same. It's just legendary. And Blinding Light is the final spell that you can cast all the time. It's an 18-inch range. You get one shot. On a 4-up, you disorder the unit. It's pretty cool.
It's amazing. I mean, yeah, you can prevent shooters from peppering you. Maybe like heavy cavalry. Bye-bye Thunderous Charge.
Yep. Goodbye Fly.
Goodbye Fly.
Yep.
Yeah, it is big. I mean, it's not a great chance of success, but
it's 50-50.
Yeah, it is there.
Put it on a cheap caster that's mobile, and it's great use.
Yeah, it's good.
Use them as chaff if you need to later.
Right.
All right. We also have 3 spells this time that can only be used once per game, per caster. So Spell Siphon excluded, once per game. Guiding Light. This is basically like a beacon that you put on top of a target. Once it's a 12-inch range. When you get a target in front of you, every War Machine shooting that for the remainder of the phase gets a +1 to hit. I think Abyssal Dwarves are going to really like this with their Siege Mortars.
Yeah. The only problem is the range is so close that, you know, but when you are already 12 inches close, I mean, you're already on melee for the most part. I mean...
You're not going to get it on turn 1.
Right.
I think they meant to do it that way too.
Yeah,
because you don't want to just instantly lose one of your guys.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't know if you'd rather be enchanting something when you're that close to melee. I don't know.
It's interesting at least.
Yeah, it is.
Teleport allows an infantry hero to fly basically for 1 turn. A lot of forums are kind of talking about this being like the next big thing, but it says that you take movement penalties like normal. So if you move the 20, you can't shoot, and you can't move after you get teleported, and you can't charge. So I see this as a cheap Wings of Honey Maze.
Basically, yeah, it will teleport heroes to your back, and then from them they can just disorder things, take down war machines. But
it's only infantry heroes. So you can't really... I don't see a lot of abuse with this spell. I think it could be interesting, but it's not like abusive.
Yeah. No, I don't think it's abusive either.
Final spell is Blinding... we already said that one. It's Critter's Call. This is very similar to Blinding Light, but you get 8 dice instead of 1, and it's actually an attack. The only difference is if you take any wounds at all, you're disordered. So, and you could mix this with Blinding Light, potentially get 2 disorders. That'd be kind of interesting. Alignment-specific spells. Martyr's Prayer hasn't changed other than the fact that it's legendary. Veil of Shadows is unchanged other than the fact that it's legendary. Or if Heroism got a little bit of a tweak, I wouldn't say it's a nerf or a buff, it's just different. It gives the unit Rally 1, and in addition increases that unit's nerve by 1. So basically everyone in the 6-inch bubble of where you're casting is going to have a +1 nerve. So kind of interesting. I preferred the +2 rally personally because you can put it on a unit that's not going to take damage. But I haven't played with it yet, so maybe I'll like it. Army changes.
Yeah.
This is where I start getting sweet and he starts getting sour. All right, guys. So let's just start. We're gonna go down the list just like the book has it. So Basilea.
Yeah, big boost.
Yeah, I don't think they were, winning a lot of games, but I think we're going to see a lot more Basilea this year.
Yeah, those
a lot more. The Palace Guard Ogres are basically siege breakers. They're Basilea flavored siege breakers. They don't have as much crushing strength, but they have Iron Resolve. They don't have a big shield, but they're defense 5 all around. They're fearless and Iron Resolve together, plus heal behind them. Those things are going to be a beast.
They're amazing. I mean, I think maybe the next thing to abuse. I don't know. Maybe. I predict a lot of those things showing up at Lone Wolf.
I'm surprised they're not irregular. They should be irregular, I think. And then they also got an Elohi buff, as if Elohi needed a buff. The rules committee, their thought process behind here was that they wanted Elohi to be better in the Basilea list than as allies.
That's the thing. Everybody takes them as allies because they're so good. They are good.
Self-inspired.
They're good.
Take a hero.
A lot of people take them, and then now they're even better.
They get vicious. You take 2 hordes of Elohi, as if you didn't want to take hordes of Elohi before. Normally, the formations make you take regiments.
Exactly. Yeah. No, this is exactly how they wanted them because the people take the hordes with the Elohi, and then it's just like it's getting a big boost.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's nuts.
It's tremendous.
Called. I like the name of the formation at least. It's called the Retribution of the Heavens.
Yeah, there's going to be plenty of retribution.
Okay. Yeah. Moving on to Brotherhood. I'm a little salty about this. I'm not gonna lie. Undaunted Crusaders got, I wouldn't say nerfed, but major change. Brotherhood really needs Pathfinder. They don't have a lot of Pathfinder, and they lost Pathfinder. It instead cost less. It's not 50 points anymore. It's the same units, but they get +1 speed. Now, they did get another formation that's pretty good. It's called Tsunami, and you take 2 water elementals and an Exemplar Redeemer. The water elementals get Thunder's Charge 1, and the hero gets Surge.
Right.
Which, that's pretty good. And you could get some silly things going on with that. You put Speed on one of the water elemental hordes. You put Nimble on the other one. You could get some pretty good things going on. But I really don't feel like we should have, spoiler here, we should have given Varangur Pathfinder and then taken Pathfinder away from the Brotherhood.
Yeah, it doesn't sound fair. I think Pathfinder is a very powerful mechanic, so you want to be careful with when you give it and who you give it to.
Says the Forces of Nature player.
But that's that's my army, man. That's the army rule. But I think it was scary to deal with those knights with Pathfinder, Thunderous Charge.
I don't feel like they had any staying value. If they didn't kill you on the Alpha Strike,
that's true.
There really wasn't much. You're gonna get Crushing Strength 1 max. I don't know. Wasn't that big of a fan. But the Tsunami formation, I will admit, is pretty cool. Dwarves didn't get any new formations. Everyone got 3 formations this time. Dwarves already had 3.
Yeah, we already had 3.
So they don't get anything new, but they did get 2 new units. One's the Steel Juggernaut, and I'll show this up on the screen because it's kind of an interesting thing. They get a Speed 4, Melee 3, Range 5, Defense 6, 2 attacks, Fearless, -13 Nerve, and 120 points. Their wounds are resolved on a Blast D3. They have Crushing and Piercing 2, and they can shoot with a hand cannon at 24-inch range, or they can whack you. They're nimble. They're kind of interesting. I don't know if I like them or not. I want to see them, though. I think they have potential.
Yeah, I think they're okay. People are talking about using them to harass flanks.
Yeah, they would be great to flank, because that blast starts getting kind of crazy.
Yeah.
I don't know. The Flame Priest, though, I really like. Dwarves needed a cheap caster. They needed a cheap caster.
Yeah. So I got stuck on 2nd edition D&D, apparently, and, there's no such a thing as dwarf casting fire spells, mad. So I'm old-fashioned.
He played D&D back when, Gygax was still running.
Yeah, exactly.
And he thinks that dwarves can't cast magic.
Yeah,
but he had
everybody knows that.
But he had no problem with stone priests. but he doesn't like fire.
Yeah, I think like Abyssals will be more adept at like fire magic rather than dwarf, like with earth elementals and I don't know.
I think they can figure it out. But the point is, you're not necessarily wanting the fireball on this. They get Bane Chant for 15 points, so you have a 75-point Bane Chanter. And also, they can take any other spell. So they could take Soul Siphon, or they could take Blizzard, or they could take Guiding Light, or they could take, I don't know, Teleport. That would help you out a little bit. Yeah. I mean, there's a lot of things.
No, chip casters are good.
Yeah.
In general, I don't think it's an auto include or anything like that. But I think
I'm just saying it gives you variety.
I think it's it's a good alternative.
Okay,
I'll try it and see.
All right, Elves got one nerf. Chariots are no longer +1 speed. The book won't mention it because that was a buff from the previous book.
Yep.
And the Kindred Lord is now down to 10 breath instead of 15. So they didn't really suffer a whole lot there. They didn't get the irregular bonuses that some of the other ones got. Maybe they should have. I don't know. They got an interesting formation, King's Champion. It's only 20 points. You take 2 Stormwind Cav regiments and an Elven King. The regiments get Headstrong, and the King gets Melee 2.
Yeah, that's good.
Melee 2 with Elite.
Yeah.
5. That's just 5 hits. 5 hits at crushing 1.
He never misses.
I worked it out. It's a 3% chance to miss. 3% chance.
Yeah.
It's crazy. Salamanders didn't get a whole lot, but they did get one thing they've really been complaining about. The Ankleodon now has Strider. You're going to see this as a theme for any unit that needed it and didn't have it.
Everybody got Strider. Yay.
Strider for everyone. You get Strider. You get Strider. You get Strider.
From what I hear and read on Facebook, that's not enough to push the Salamanders to competitive just yet.
Do Salamanders really want to be competitive? I mean, Salamanders is almost the army you take just so you can complain about how bad they are, right?
Yeah, that's true.
That's like the army you take. Yeah. There's always that one army in Kings of War, not Kings of War, this one, but any battle game, It's like, I play this because I'm not a power gamer, and I pride myself in not being a power gamer.
That's Trident Realms already, so yeah, I think Salamanders need more love down the road.
The Ankleodon also got Steady Aim, so when it fires its platform, it doesn't take negative hits. That's pretty good.
Yep.
And then they got a formation called the Inspiration of the Ancients, 2 Ancient Regiments, 1 Clan Lord, all gain Inspiring, and the Clan Lord is Fearless with Rally 1.
That's good.
I think it's pretty decent. The Ancients needed a little love, and that means that you can save money on inspiring sources because they inspire.
Right.
Forces of Nature. This is where Jose is going to take it from here. You want the list here? You can tell him. This is Jose's main army.
Yeah, let's see. Naiads, Heartpiercers got Steady Aim. That's actually that's good. They can move and shoot, no penalty.
Steady Aim's great.
Not a lot of people take Naiad Heartpiercers, but maybe now more people will.
They essentially have 18-inch breath weapons now. So.
Basically.
Yeah.
Sylph Talon Riders. Yeah. So, apparently they get a buff, but only... So they get Thunder Charge 1 and Elite, but only on melee. But their attacks now are back to the original, which is 12 attacks. So... they get better on melee, which was a complaint, but they lose that, harassing power with the 16 attacks. This prevents abuse. Some lists will take some of them, ally them with chariots, and it was like shooting fest.
It was. Brad McKay took that. That was the list. It was the Brad McKay list.
Credit to him because he was the first one to come up with this. Very, very, smart player. I use only one, so I mean, it feels bad when. For all the other players that only take one, it wasn't overpowered. They are overpowered when you must them,
I think everybody has that problem with spamming. Like and some players do this, they find the unit that is the best unit and they just take 700 of them. Yes. And I think that's what frustrates me. But what I'm saying is that it's not the unit you need to hit, it's spamming.
Yeah, I think if you make them like one like only one of them in an army, I think that would have been another solution. I welcome the improved melee stuff, because sometimes you charge with them on a one-on-one, they didn't take anybody down. I mean, but now maybe they do with Bane Chant or something.
What else do we have going on?
Yeah, we have Air Elementals. They no longer lose their crushing strength, but now it's a lower defense 4.
So they're speed 10, flying, crushing strength 1 elementals.
Right. Exactly.
It's pretty cool.
A lot of people complain about the loss of crushing strength, but now they keep it, so they are going
to be... They could be crushing 2 if you put the thing, and then Bane Chant crushing 3.
Yeah, no, they're going to be used a lot more, I believe, because that's speed and fly. I mean, that's great. That's huge.
Speed 10 fly. Yeah. And then the Greater Earth Elemental also gained Lightning Bolt.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Naiad Wind Riders are speed 9. I think that's a welcome change.
They needed it. They really needed it.
If they don't hit first, they're dead. So having that extra inch against like other cavalry, I think it helps a lot.
Yeah.
I'm glad
that Cock's giving them the extra inch. An extra inch in the cock is always good.
From 19. That's what she said. Having the extra inch, I think is going to be good.
That's the only cock joke. We just had to put one in there. I'm sorry.
Now, Forest Warden now has melee 3 and surge 3. I think this is great. It kind of pushes the surge type of army on Forces of Nature.
No.
So this is exciting, and there's a formation with the Warden's Watch, 2 regiments of Forest Chamblers, which a lot of people already take, because they use them almost as chaff that come in,
and they deal damage.
Come on your face. You don't kill them, they get you, and now you have something to inspire them and to search. I mean, that's big.
Is it elite or vicious, or what else do they get?
The Warden gains inspiring.
Okay.
So now they don't die too easy.
There you go.
Yeah. So that's good.
Pretty exciting.
Good stuff.
All right. So Kingdoms of Men is going to bring us to the first thing. Everyone wants to know what this is. It's the Colossal Giant.
Yeah.
Kingdoms of Men can take it. Ogres can take it. Goblins can take it. Orcs can take it. And even though other people didn't get the Colossal Giant, they did get something that was similar to the Colossal Giant.
Right.
So here's the stat list. It doesn't change for every list. It has speed 7, melee 4 up, defense 5, attacks d6 plus 10, so 4 extra attacks than its smaller cousin. Its nerve is dash 20, so it's fearless. So the previous one had fury, this one has fearless. And then it's only 235 points. It's not like a crazy amount more. Crushing strength 4, strider, and vicious against infantry with brutal.
Yeah.
It's pretty gross.
It is gross, and then the Mantic model is amazing. I mean, it's humongous. It inspires respect.
I always wanted a giant to look like a giant. A lot of people use the Reaper Hill giant for their giant. Right. It just looks dinky to me. I want a giant to be giant, and this thing is the best giant model, hands down, I've ever seen.
Mantic delivered. Yeah.
Great giant. They sold out in like 2 days.
Yeah.
I had to buy one third party on eBay because Mantic was out.
Yeah, no, it's amazing.
All right, and then Kingdoms of Men also got Imlar courses. I feel like I typed that wrong, but it's a formation: 2 mounted sergeant troops and a regiment of sergeant troops. They all gain +1 speed, so it's not their best cavalry unit, but it's a lot of them, and they're fast now.
Yeah, so. fast cavalry is very important. So yeah.
Rhordia got a nerf. Halfling archers are irregular. Spoiler: Goblin spitters are too. Apparently, those were very cheap. Shooters extremely efficient at what they did, and they were wanting to get rid of that a little bit. They got a formation called the Well-Drilled Militia. It's kind of interesting. 1 city spear horde and 2 city militia troops. The horde inspires militia, and the troops get elite and vicious, but only in the flanker's rear. Militia's good. I like the militia. I don't know if anyone's going to write home about this, but it's so good. All right, ogres. Ogres are my army. I don't know whether I should complain or get excited, because it's kind of a bittersweet moment for me. Hell on Wheels got nerfed to hell. It's gone. He thinks it was a bad. It's really not, because ogres really struggle with nerve. We don't have anything that's over 20. We don't have those blocks that people get to push up. And yeah, I get we're trading that for extra attacking power, but we normally can't take more than one charge. So that Hell on Wheels really buffed it to where you could, and you can still get that because what it did, they dropped the points to 15. You lose 10 points, and the chariots aren't buffed anymore. So you had to take these chariot regiments that really just don't do much. But what they did is they made the nerve so high. So now they do something. It's just they don't kill things. They're tanks. You run them up, you block things, they can stand there for a turn or two. Then you have this warlord with rally 2 that you get rally 1 and then you put the griffin banner on him. And then he can just run around to wherever he needs to be. You could deploy him with the chariots. I like to deploy him with my main line. So my siege breakers were 17-19.
Yeah, that was a big buff.
It was good. It was great because normally they could take 2 charges that way instead of 1. And I got
with defense 6.
Yeah,
they can take more than 1 or 2 sometimes.
But now I'm paying for these regiments, and they're not 14-16 anymore. That I can't buff them to 16-18. They're just not. I don't know. I'm not. I will play Hell on Wheels, I guess, once or twice to see if I still like it, but I'm not positive I'm going to like the chariot regiments anymore. But Jesse, thank you. There was this huge campaign. Everyone yelled about it, and the squeaky wheel got the oil. Mammoth Scott Strider.
There you go.
We also got dash 18 nerve and steady aim. So these guys are beasts now.
Yeah, they're good.
I mean, they are really good. And warlocks got +1 spell per horde instead of +1 spell per berserker brave unit next to them. Berserker braves always just, I really think they need to be tweaked because they get more attacks, but they lose in melee. And when you look at the math, it almost balances out, so they don't really gain a whole lot. And then they're crushing 1. They're fearless. Fearless is cool, but you're paying 50 extra points to a warrior horde, and they're only marginally better than a warrior horde. I don't think it's really worth it. I really don't think it's worth it now that they don't buff warlocks, but warlocks really weren't taken very often either. Now I think we're going to see 2 and 3 locks pretty commonly. And there's another ogre hero, I forget his name, Namagramok or something like that. He's been around, he's not new, but he also got the horde buff change. And he has heal and bane chant, and when he successfully casts on an ogre unit, they get vicious.
Yeah.
So you could have you could put healing charm on a warlock and suddenly have 2 ogres walking around with heal. You could put drain life on ogre warlocks and suddenly have 3 ogre warlocks shooting drain life into something, healing troops and killing guys. You have some really interesting things. So we may have lost that nerve, but I think we did get a lot of healing potential that we never had before. So
and shooting.
Yeah, lightning bolts on turn 1. They start off with LB3. You take 2 locks, maybe 3, you're going to bust that chaff that used to give you problems.
Plus the mammoth.
Yep, yeah.
Maybe like a shooting ogre list?
I mean, I think it can happen now. Before, and maybe that means shooters are going to be better than they were. Because boomers, I think, were just better than shooters in every way after Keeniness got taken away from them. But now, maybe not. So... we'll see. I think ogres have a lot going for them. I think overall, ogres got more love than they got hate. I'm just sad to see Hell on Wheels go. But ogres are great. Trident Realms got some more love. They got love last time. They're getting love now, and I think they might almost be viable now. This is also another kind of,
It's a difficult army to master.
But they have so much potential with the Ensnare. Ensnare is so good.
Ensnare is one of the best mechanics in the game. Yeah.
So Riverguard got a +4 ranged throwing weapon. The captain, excuse me, the Riverguard captain. Naiad Envoy got Surge and Heal, so that's pretty good. Worm Riders, we mentioned before, are the same. They speed 9. The Knucker gained Stealthy, and its melee dropped to 3 up. So the Knucker can deal some damage now. The Trident King got regen. And this isn't a buff. I don't think it's just different. Krakens have a base size option. It's the only unit in the game with an option. They can be 150 by 100 like they were before. Excuse me, 50 by 150 like they were before. Or they could also be on the new 75 by 75 base.
Yeah.
So either way.
I think the smaller base probably better. It fits
Yeah.
fits into places.
I like both. The Chariot base, the 50 by 150, has a bigger flank, so it's easy to get flanked on that thing.
That's true.
And the 75 is fatter, but it has a smaller flank. I think they're both good. I don't know which one I'd like better. I don't know if I'd really care either. I mean, like, whichever one, we'll just take what it is. But it's interesting. They also got a Gigas Horde formation, which I think was a really good call, guys. Gigas are that unit that they're just too slow to matter, but they're really cool. Crushing 3, defense 6, like or maybe big shield, I don't remember, but they're great, you know. Now they give them speed. So you take 2 Gigas Horde, that's it, just 2 Gigas Horde, and you get +1 speed, and they also get elite. So
that's good.
I think it's a great center. Empire of Dust got some love. Soul Snare was a war machine that was legendary, and it's not removed, but it's totally different. Now it lost its reload ability. That's a good thing. It's a buff. And they also have an 18-inch 10-shot drain life.
No, that's amazing.
It's pretty cool.
That's amazing.
So I assume that means that it can heal up to 18 inches away too.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
I would think so. That's how I read that. So that means that you can blast people and heal your guys the whole time. You can augment charges. I think that's a pretty tall thing, or you could get it on a hill if it's not, and just boom, boom, boom.
Yeah. It's
pretty cool. It's legendary, so don't get too crazy. You don't get 3 of them, but I would take 3 of them if I could. Enslaved Guardians, both the melee and the archer versions dropped in melee, so they got an added melee boost. Guardians on 3, archers on 4. You might have some better Enslaved Guardian movement there.
Right.
Reanimated Behemoth has Strider and Steady Aim, just like a lot of the monsters got. And then they have some big monsters that they had smaller versions of. So they have 2 75 by 75 monsters now. The Revenant King on Flying Undead Worm and the Revenant on Undead Great Burrowing Worm. And they're just bigger versions of what they were before. More attacks, more crushing strength, more spells, more points. They also got Mummy's Revenge, 2 Mummy Regiments, and 1 Cursed High Priest. The Mummy Regiments get Elite and Vicious.
That's good.
They're gross. Mummies are already pretty good, I think.
Yeah. Now they get better.
Yeah. Forces of the Abyss. We had some pretty crazy changes here.
Yeah.
Of course, they got a lot of new units in Vanguard. Those are coming into Kings of War now.
Right.
So, and I think Forces of the Abyss wasn't a bad army, but it definitely wasn't a newbie army, and they were very fragile. So even though they could do some really good things, if you slipped up, that was it. You know. Now I think they gave you some more units that give you a little bit more staying power and punch, make them feel a little bit better. I don't think any of them are overpowered, though.
Nope.
Efreet dropped to Fireball 16, and I think especially because of a unit that they added, that's a really good call.
Exactly.
Cronius he's strange. He's not a shooter anymore at all. He does match the model better now. He is a giant, essentially. He's a little tiny mini giant that you can buff to a normal giant. And he has a static ability that deals damage to any foe within 6 inches of him when he's activated. Halt, too. So, I mean, I think he's fearless, but no matter what he's doing, when he's activated, if there's an enemy within 6 inches of him, they take a damage.
Like a little wall.
Yeah.
Wall of fire or something.
It's pretty cool.
Yeah.
It only works once, though, is what sucks. So I think 2 Croniuses would have been more interesting in dealing this passive 2/2/2, you know, but it doesn't let you do that. Here are the new Vanguard units. They got the Helican Blood Masks and the Halicans. The Blood Mask is the hero. It's a pretty decent hero. And Blood Masks are essentially mounted suns. They're a little different, but they're heavy cav.
Right.
So before the cav was kind of normal, these are crushing 1, thunder 2, 3 up melee. And they have life leech instead of... Well, they already have fury because they're demons. So
right. No, that's a big...
They're pretty good.
Big addition for them.
Succubi lurkers are just different types of succubi. They have ensnare, they have stealthy, they have loads of attacks, but they're speed 7. So they might be able to get in, actually. That's the problem with succubi, is that you can normally shoot them down before they get there.
Right.
So I think these actually have survivability now. We have an Abyssal Warlock, which is just a cheap caster, has Fireball 10 and Bane Chant. And that's the one, I think if you got those spamming with Efreet, you could start to get some kind of silly fireballs.
Yeah, cheap caster with Bane Chant, that's good.
Yeah.
always.
And then Abyssal Despoilers. These are the big crab-like looking guys that you've seen. I've been curious what they do. They are beasts.
They're lofters.
Large cavalry, speed 7, so just a little bit slow, but you can always put haste on them. Regen, brutal, crushing strength 2, thunderous charge 1, 4 up on the melee and 18 attacks.
That's good.
They're basically better Molochs.
Yeah.
Formations, they had a change with the Great Archfiend host, which I think was a good change. They took the caveat that the Archfiend could not have wings on, which I thought was kind of a silly caveat to begin with. So now he's speed 7 again, but you can put wings on him like everyone puts wings on their Archfiends.
Yeah. Never seen it without it.
I mean, you always see that Hulk. I mean, you just think about them flying around, giant demons.
Right.
Because Archfiends are essentially pit fiends. I mean, and pit fiends fly.
Yeah. I never seen a demon without wings, actually.
I can't. Well, I mean, I've never seen.
of that type.
Yeah, like a hero monster demon.
Yeah.
They always have wings. That's like a thing.
Yeah.
And then Unleash the Hounds. This is pretty cool, I think. So 2 Hellhound troops, which I've been impressed with Hellhounds anytime they've been used against me. And then an Abyssal Horseman Regiment. I mean, you would take that normally anyway. And a Heliquin Blood Mask. So just the hero. He's a good hero. He's a harass hero. They all get vicious.
Yep.
Pretty good.
That's solid.
Goblins. Nerfs to Spitters.
Yeah.
Mincer got changed. I wouldn't call this a nerf, but it's definitely a change. So before, Mincers had Thunderous Charge 3.
Yeah.
Made them pretty darn good. Now they have Thunder 1, but they get Crushing 1 too.
Yeah, but the absolute number is, I think it's a nerf to me.
Maybe it's a little bit of a nerf. To be fair, Mincers deserved a little bit of a nerf. Those things were really good.
Goblins, they've been getting hit like on a regular basis.
Just like little nicks here and there.
Yeah, I mean, it's just like, I know they're a problem, like we discussed before in some areas, but it's just like every time, man.
They got some really cool things.
Yeah.
Fleabag Rider Horde got buffed, 19 to 21 nerve now. Slasher profile is totally changed. It might as well be a new unit. It's what we all thought it would have been to begin with. And we also got the Mincer Mob.
Right.
And of course they got the Colossal Giant too.
Yeah.
So the Mincer Mob is just a regiment of mincers. It's a 14-16 nerve, so it might actually survive to see combat. For more than a little bit of harassing, you wouldn't have to protect it as much as you have to protect your mincers. They get D6 plus, I just see this. I did not see this before. D6 plus 24 attacks.
Yeah, that's...
Holy hell.
That's crazy.
Hit on force, so we're looking at 12 to 14 hits here. Big shield, brutal, crushing 1, thunder 1. Mincer Mobs, I forgot, lost Yellow Bellied. Mincers lost Yellow Belly too. I hated Yellow Belly on Mincers. Something that I like about Goblins is Yellow Belly's only on the units that aren't really there to deal damage, and Yellow Belly's off of the units that are supposed to deal damage.
Yeah, I mean, you're a Goblin in a big war machine. You're not scared anymore, man. You go for it. You go for it. That's right.
So they lost that. So
it makes sense.
I think we traded. I don't think it was as much of a nerf.
I think they probably nerfed them a little bit so they can make the Horde, because a Horde with the private stats would have been a little OP perhaps.
There's a formation called Carriages of Carnage too, which is a Mincer Mob and 2 Mincers, and they all get an extra speed. So they're all speed 6.
Yeah.
12-inch range.
That's nice.
Slasher, I'll show the comment up here. I'll show the profile up here. It's speed 7, melee 3, range 5, defense 5, attacks 9, nerve 17, 19. It's worth 220 points. And it gets crushing 3, piercing 2, steady aim, and strider. And its attacks, it gets 2 attacks on the sharp stick thrower. They're blast D3.
Yeah.
I think it's pretty cool. It's kind of what you were expecting. I'm pretty sure this was supposed to be the original Arachnorak spider.
You think?
I think so.
Yeah.
It looks like it too now.
Yeah, but Arachnorak is it's a lot bigger, right?
Yeah. I mean...
yeah, it's something like that.
When I was transitioning from Warhammer and I saw Slasher, I thought, oh, it's the Arachnorak spider. That's the first thing I thought. And now it kind of feels like the Arachnorak spider.
Yeah, a little bit more.
Okay. All right. So Nightstalkers.
Yeah.
They're interesting. course, we got some Vanguard buffs from Nightstalkers.
The models are awesome.
They are so cool looking.
Yeah, super cool.
And it's the first like Kings of War army that doesn't belong to anyone else too.
Yeah.
Everything else is either generic fantasy or Warhammer ripoffs. I mean, come on, let's be honest. Let's be honest.
My God.
They are. I mean, Herd gets in there. There's a couple, Ratkin, there's a couple that are like obviously GW armies.
Well, everybody gets to play their armies.
Oh no, it's good. It's good. But the Nightstalkers are Kings of War.
True.
And it's good to see models that are based off of it. So Reaper Soul Drinkers, these are so cool. They're like super cheap heroes. They give life leech to everything around them. 6-inch hit bubble, everything gets life leech, and if you already have life leech, it's buffed by 1. Every other place in this rulebook says you can't go past life leech 2. This doesn't say that. So I don't know if that's true. They need to FAQ that if not, but to me it looks like pretty clearly you can get life leech 3 here.
Yeah, that would be massive.
Butcher Flesh Ripper is a hero with some nasty melee and a little bit of a surge push. Could be interesting. He's only 110 points, so And then Horror Rift Weavers are cheap monsters. They get D6 plus 6 attacks and stealthy. They're pretty easy to knock out, but they have crushing 1. They're just cheap monsters.
Yeah, they survive. They're a problem.
Yeah, for sure. And of course, everything in the Nightstalkers is stealthy. So
right, hard to shoot.
They got a formation that's pretty cool. You can take 2 Needle Fang regiments and 2 Shadow Hounds. It's called the Mist Leapers. Needle Fangs get fly, and Shadow Hounds gain life leech. Mix that with some of those Soul Drinkers, and that could be kind of interesting. All right. Orcs got the Colossal Giant, and they also got the Skulk Stalker formation. Take 3 Skulks and a Crusher. The Skulks all get steady aim, and the Crusher gets a bow. So, pretty good deal there. Ratkin got new units.
Yeah.
They needed them too. I know Mark Cox was complaining about that quite a bit. Might have influenced Lone Wolf 18.
Yeah.
They have Tunnel Runners, which are large cav. I think these are supposed to be the old Doom wheels.
The wheels, yeah.
Crushing 1, Thunder 1, Speed 8. And then pretty standard stats from there.
That is good.
Yeah, they're pretty good.
Yeah.
Nightmares, I don't know what these are supposed to be. I think maybe they might supposed to be like the GW guys, like from the end times.
The drillers?
Like the big guys with like the Gatling guns and stuff.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know. They're a large infantry horde. They only have crushing strength 1, so they're worse than the brutes in melee, but they also get breath attack. So they're basically boomers. Which
that's good.
It's pretty cool. I think it matches how rats play better too, because they tend to shoot, move back, shoot, take hits, shoot, throw chaff, shoot. You know, you can play in melee too, but most of the rats that I've had are just like death by 1,000 paper cuts when you're playing against them.
Yeah.
Night Terror. It's a large infantry hero, 5 melee attacks with crushing 2 and nimble. So good little harasser there, as if they didn't have enough of them. They got a formation which features the new Tunnel Runners. It's 2 Tunnel Runners and a Night Terror, and the Tunnel Runners gain Fury, and the Night Terror gets Rally 1.
That's pretty good. That is good.
Twilight Kin can now, it's not an ally necessarily, but they gained a lot of irregular units that are Nightstalkers. So Scarecrows, Reapers, and Fiends are all irregular units that you can take straight from the Nightstalker list. Twilight Kin.
I wonder if they will match together like down the road.
They're supposed to be like the elves are supposed to be in their lore manipulated by this, like they're supposed to be like that.
It makes sense.
Dark Scythe chariots aren't listed as losing a speed because they had a speed buff in Cock 18 that's gone now. And then the formation. This is straight for Jordan Lawrence.
Yeah. Merry Christmas, Jordan.
Gemini. Take 2 Hydra. I always thought Hydra were pretty decent just because of the nerve, but now I think everyone's going to take 2 Hydra.
You think?
So Hydra are now buffed by each other's wounds in this formation, and it's only 10 points. You're not paying anything for this formation. Hydra, of course, have a certain number of attacks, and then they gain more attacks as you hurt them. So if they have 8 wounds on them, those 8 wounds are added to their attack profile. Now, they add both together. So if their friend is wounded, they're getting buffed by it, and if they're wounded, their friend is getting buffed by it, in addition to the wounds they already have on them.
Yeah, no,
it's pretty good.
Yeah, it's going to be nasty.
All right, Varangur. This is the last army here.
I was happy with seeing less Varangur around. Now they're back with a vengeance.
I don't understand.
They're back.
I do not understand what the RC was thinking.
I
really.
Oh, I do know what they were thinking, but I'm not going to say it.
They were thinking they wanted to win.
Yeah, they want to win. They want to win, man. That's it. Oh my gosh.
All right, so there are 3 things that they did that I agree with entirely. I really think they needed to do. 1, cave trolls aren't irregular anymore.
That's good.
That's good.
That's fair.
Because they weren't used because they were irregular and they cost an arm and a leg.
Yeah, that is fair.
Jabberwock got extra attacks. I don't think anyone thinks the Jabberwock's OP, so that's...
I don't even know what they are, so...
Jabberwock is kind of like it's like Blood Boil, but it's in melee, and it applies the number of wounds you had on you at the beginning of melee. If it was exactly like Blood Boil, it'd be great because you would double charge with them and you'd resolve the first one first and then Blood Boil. But they don't work that way. So they're really bad and they're very easy to kill, and they're just kind of flimsy little heroes that don't do a whole lot. So they got extra attacks. And Devourers you've seen but are very easy to kill. They had a 14-16 nerf. They're up to 16-18, but nothing else changed about them.
I thought they were good before. Now they're more solid.
I definitely thought they did a lot. They were jacks of all trades. That's something I love about Devourers. They can shoot, they can charge, they're nimble, but they only have 10 attacks, crushing 1, thunder 1. They didn't always deliver, but they always did something. Now I think with the extra nerve, they'll hang around for an extra turn.
Yeah.
I think they'll be better.
They're hard to kill.
I told you that list where I took 2 Devourers, Magus, Blood Boil, that's back, honey. That's coming back. All right, so this is where we don't think they needed any help. They got the Ice Queen. The Ice Queen is a cheap caster. It starts with Wind Blast 6, but you can change it to heal 3 for free. Or you can give them both.
Right.
And she's very, very cheap. Now, there are going to be a lot of Elsa models for this because it's the Ice Queen.
Right.
But I don't know why they would ever give them cheap casters. They already had Maguses, and the only downside to Maguses was they were expensive, which is kind of the running theme with Varangur. Everything's expensive. I don't think they needed to give her this. And then I think this is really them trying to make the Northern Alliance part of the Varangur.
Yeah, are they going to fission together?
I don't know. Maybe the enemy of my enemy is my friend. The Northern Alliance ignore the atrocities of the Varangur, and the Varangur promise to kill the Northern Alliance last. I don't know. Maybe that's it. I don't know. But they also got a Frost Giant. This is not the Colossal Giant, but it's the Colossal Giant.
It's pretty close, huh?
It's dash 20 nerve, crushing strength 4, d6 plus 10 attacks. It's the Colossal Giant. Right. The only difference is it can take Blizzard. I don't know if that counts as taking it as a legendary spell or not. Maybe you could take Blizzard on the Queen and the Frost Giant. I don't know. The thing says you can only take it once per... Like, one caster can take it. I don't know what that has to do with monsters. We'll have to read the ruling on that. They also got this, and this is just silly ridiculous that they got this, especially when they took Pathfinder away from Brotherhood. They give it to the army that didn't need any help. Fallen have Pathfinder again. It's a formation. It's a formation, but it's
and with the hero too.
It's only 35 points. It's not even the cost of 2 Pathfinders.
Right.
You're not even paying 40 points for this.
Yeah.
And you get Pathfinder back on Fallen. You take 2 hordes of Fallen, no regiments of Fallen. It should have been 2 regiments of Fallen. And then you take McNeely like you weren't going to take McNeely.
Yeah. So that's like your core, you know.
This is what
units of your army, and then let's buff it.
Yeah. The whole point of formations, I always felt, was these are units people don't take.
Yeah.
We want to encourage them to have varied lists. These are the units Varangur take.
Yeah.
Now, there is a caveat. You can't take allies if you take this list. So if you take this formation. So I guess that's what they were thinking.
Varangur never takes allies.
What are you talking about?
They didn't take allies.
I don't know what you're talking about, sir. They always allied with demons and took gargoyles and tortured souls.
Oh, okay. Yeah, sometimes.
That's what Aaron Chapman took that he kept winning with, and I think I know he took that because I played him when he was taking that.
I never seen that.
Oh, I don't think he was the only one doing that. I think that was a pretty common tactic. Okay. But anyway, I guess that's the idea, is to curb that. But
yeah,
I don't know.
Varangur is back.
Varangur is back. Basilea.
Basilea is like tier 1.
Oh yeah,
for sure.
Definitely.
And shooting all around is going down
a little bit. I don't think it took anything it can't handle. I think
goblins are like big losers here, I think.
I don't know. They got the colossal giant.
I mean, they got new toys. I mean, I guess their style is going to change.
They're different.
Yeah, they're different.
I would want to take a lot of those mincer regiments. I don't know. I would almost want 3 of those behind Goblin Rabble pushing it forward.
Yeah.
Might be pretty good. But you're going to have to work with Goblin lists now. Before, Goblins had unlocks for days, and now the things that were unlocks are irregular. So list building for Goblins suddenly got a little harder.
Yeah. I mean, that's fair.
But that's it. I really like the changes. I think the new spells are going to be really interesting. I think the new army changes, the new units. I think there's going to be a lot of cool things in here.
Yeah, the meta is going to change. You know, maybe less shooting.
Hopefully less shooting. But we don't deal with that down.
Chariots are not that good anymore.
I don't know.
Some of them.
I don't know. I think they're still great.
I mean, they're good, but they're not as good. I know. I think there's going to be more alpha striking.
There's definitely some. Basilea.
Varangur is back. So
Varangur has alpha strike. Basilea has the Elohi alpha strike with the palace guard push up the front.
Yeah. And then you have all these. How do you call it when you deploy? When you have your bonus on deployment. Vanguard. You know, you have people in your face.
Yeah, with forces of nature.
Perhaps on turn 1.
Could be. Yeah. It's going to be an interesting year, guys. Post in the comments below what you think about this or anything else. We're really interested, and we'll get you a battle report with the new COC 19 rules just as soon as we can get it all set up. So, for right now, thanks for watching, and stay saucy.
Hobbysauce.